Hey guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I'm trying to power through this video series. I am currently sick, and so my voice is terrible. I'm going to go as long as my voice does not give out tonight. So, I am on my third video in my emotional mastery video series for the Aquarian or INTJs. I am focusing on the ego specifically in astrology and psychology. There are 4 sides to your ego. And astrologically, do consider that the ego represents your sun sign as well as your Mercury. So I'm an Aquarian or INTJ, Mercury in the 11th house. So I have been hammering this personality extra hard. I am creating mini ebooks, and I have just recently dropped my emotional mastery guidebook. Do check that out in the description below. So I know a lot of people do not have time to read. It is a 256-page ebook. And behind the scenes, I am going to be working on publishing it on Amazon so that you can get a physical copy. This is the first ebook that I have created that breaks down many different topics. And it also has journal prompts. So it describes to you what each subject is about. It gives you real life examples. It gives you scripts and scientific facts, and then it goes into having you journal to make it more personal to you. So, with all that being said, let's jump into the third video. This video, I kind of want to do this video different, and maybe from here on out, I'm going to go through my video, breaking it down into a shorter format, but then I think I'm also going to pull from my ebook and go a little bit more in depth. So I wanted to create short videos, but I'm kind of wanting to expand a little bit more on each of these videos. So we'll see how it goes and how my voice holds up. So thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment on this specific topic, your own life experiences and advice that you have as an Aquarian or INTJ in the comments below. All right, so today's topic is nihilism, existential crisis, and the what's the point trap. Do you ever get lost in the what does it all mean spiral? Aquarian or INTJ types are notorious for existential deep dives. It's a feature, not a flaw. Uranus asks the big questions and demands authenticity and meaning. Pluto brings up shadow, transformation, and the urge to destroy what's fake. Introverted intuition needs purpose to function, otherwise spirals into cynicism. Mercury and Neptune, endless analysis can become mental quicksand. So, existential questioning is linked to higher openness and cognitive complexity. So, for example, wondering what's the point after achieving a big goal, feeling empty instead of satisfied. Now, I kind of want to get into personal examples as well as the script in my ebook, because I feel all this deeply. And with extroverted thinking, for the Aquarian or INTJ specifically, I have noticed that I am so tunnel vision. I guess that's NI, but I'm very tunnel vision on goals. I have been writing books for a decade now. I've had this goal since I was probably 12 or 13. And this process is getting faster, but as soon as I finish one book, I move on to the next, and I don't feel. I feel excited, but I'm like, okay, on to the next task. It's like Aquarians have this like task list, and it's just check, 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 check. They never like go on vacation. They don't feel like they can celebrate. Life is so short, and there's only so much time to learn and to get goals accomplished. It's right on to the next. So if you feel like that, this video is definitely for you, and you're not the only one. So, takeaway, nihilism is your call to reinvent, not give up. And so Aquarians can have these huge goals, and then it's like certain personalities, um, they understand how much work and research and time and effort and money their huge goal can take. And it's hard. It's like they procrastinate up front, and then they cram it all in, and they're not satisfied, and they just give up. So we're very good at setting big goals, but in order to make a huge goal achievable and not feel like, oh my gosh, this is too hard, you need to break those goals down into smaller goals. And so it's kind of like the Capricorn, it's you're climbing the mountain one little step at a time. So just be aware that that's an issue. All right, so grab my ebook for tools to turn crisis into creative vision. Do check that out in the description below. Have you ever finished a big project, look around and think, so now what? Or wake up and wonder, is anything I do actually meaningful? If the phrase, what's the point, lives rent free in your head, you're exactly where you should be. Let's get brutally honest. Aquarian or INTJ types are natural meaning seekers until suddenly everything feels meaningless. This is just moodiness. It's not just moodiness, it's a real existential spiral. But guess what? It's not a flaw in your wiring, it's actually part of your superpower if you know how to work with it. Today, I'll show you why nihilism and existential crisis hits us hard, how to get unstuck, and why chasing meaning is always a moving target. Here's what no one tells you. INTJs or Aquarians aren't just analytical, they're philosophical. You're wired to zoom out, look for the bigger picture, ask why, and then question the answer too. Why does this happen? Astro-Psychological Deep Dive. NI and Uranus mind, always searching for patterns, truth, and the next level. Air sign detachment. You see possibilities and flaws in everything. Existential awareness. You notice that most people are happy with small talk, simple answers, or tradition, and you're not. Sorry, I'm very nasally right now. I can hardly breathe out of my nose. Actually, I'm going to take a quick drink. I'm trying to power through this as an Aquarian, you know? It's funny. So, what does this look like? All right, where was I? Lost my spot. Okay, so real life examples first. You hit a career milestone or finish a creative project, and instead of celebrating, your brain says, cool, but what's next? Or you go through a rough patch and start to wonder if any of this even matters. What does it look like? You feel empty, restless, or even irritated by normal routines. I get so robotic. I have such a crazy schedule between work and kids, and I just go robot mode, and then I get through it. And what really helps me get through all of the non-meaningful, mundane daily task and job, I do this. This keeps me going. Writing my books, doing my videos, this really does keep me going. So having a hobby or a project, just little by little working on your goals can make such a huge difference in your robot, zoning out and wondering if anything is worth it. Just FYI, it helps me so much. So you might start second guessing everything, even stuff you used to love. Sometimes it's not even sadness, it's just a weird cosmic boredom. I am so bored with mundane, it's ridiculous. So, what is the problem or challenge? Here's the trap. Society tells you to find your purpose and stick with it forever. But Aquarius or INTJ minds are built to reinvent, restart, and grow through different phases. If you try to force yourself to stay in one lane, you'll always feel restless or disappointed. Worse, when you lose your sense of purpose, even temporarily, it's easy to spiral into maybe I'm broken and maybe nothing really matters. My cat is coming in here, so you're going to hear a cat man crying for a treat. FYI, he's spoiled. So, how do you turn existential crisis into a growth tool? Step 1, shrink the question. Instead of what's the point of life, ask what's worth doing today. Micro purposes are everything. Helping someone making something and learning something new. Step 2, ritualize meaning. Attach meaning to cycles, lunar phases, birthdays, even new seasons. Each season can have a theme: learning, creating, resting, and exploring. And I used to make these videos and ebooks along with the actual season of, like right now we're in Virgo season. So for a couple of years, I was making videos. I hope he doesn't get caught in a candle because that would not be good. Oh, he smells my shrimp. That's what's happening. Don't eat my shrimp. Okay, so anyways, I used to create these videos, personality videos with the season, and I loved it and it was awesome, but now I'm like hammering on Aquarius. But that actually helped me when I just kind of felt like I just can't get enough done. I started looking at it as a season, like let's focus and jump into this personality during the season, and it actually helped me for quite a while. So, step 3, accept change as normal. Your purpose is allowed to shift. Reinvent yourself, your hobbies, your goals. That's not flaky, it's growth. Step 4, create your own meaning. Meaning doesn't have to be deep or productive. Even a playlist, a poem, or a silly meme can be a lifeline in the void. And I have created playlists for every single personality. I've created playlists for like motivation. Deep digging for me is like heavier rock. I've got so many playlists. I used to be the person that burnt everyone's CDs and like during basketball or volleyball, the warm up, like I was always the one creating the CD. We don't do CDs anymore, but I was always the one with all the musical playlists. Let me know if that was you. That's definitely an Aquarian thing, is setting the vibe and, getting everyone like, yeah, it was fun. So yeah, playlists are a huge thing for mood shifters. So real life practice. Start a meaning journal. Every week, write down one thing, big or small, that made life feel less pointless. Stack up enough small meanings, and suddenly you have momentum again. Here's the real magic. Existential crisis isn't a dead end. It's a sign that you care about something deeper, that you're not willing to settle for easy answers. Every time you rebuild meaning, you get stronger, clearer, and more resilient. You're a meaning maker, not just a meaning finder. Huge. Let me say that one more time. You're a meaning maker, not just a meaning finder. We have a scientific mind and we absolutely love researching. I can tell you I study every single day. There's not enough time in a day. There's not enough time in a lifetime to, just try to understand deep things. But realize that you can take a step back and realize that you yourself creates meaning. That's why we're here. We're human beings. And it's kind of hard to understand that because there's just so much that we don't understand, and we wouldn't be able to understand a darn thing if it weren't for us being here. So you create your own meaning. Don't ever forget that. I think that's definitely a thing that we can tend to forget because we are very scientific minded and we're trying to understand deeply a lot of different things. So don't forget about yourself. You create meaning in life for yourself and others. So, in conclusion, if you're in the middle of a what's the point spiral, don't panic. You're not lost, you're between chapters. Meaning is something you create one micro purpose at a time. So, do you want more tools for finding purpose even on the worst days? Watch the next video where we'll tackle introversion, connection, and how to find your people without losing yourself. Or grab the ebook below for purpose, mapping templates, and real life stories. So, I'm going to actually go into my ebook now in the Existential Spiral section. And I'm going to read from this ebook a little bit to break down this topic a little bit more in depth. It'll kind of be like an audiobook a little bit. So I feel like doing this. And I just made I gotta click. Okay. So if you're an Aquarius or INTJ, you probably hit existential crisis more often than most. It's normal to ask, what's the point of all of this? Does any of it really matter? Is there even a reason to keep going with this job, project, or relationship? This void can feel dark, but it's not the enemy. It's a signal you're ready for new meaning, growth, or direction. Why does this happen? You're wired for big questions. Your mind is built to seek patterns and deeper purpose, not just surface satisfaction. Old goals get stale. Once you outgrow a purpose or a phase of life, your system starts searching for what's next. Existential anxiety is actually an upgrade signal. The spiral usually means you're due for a shift, new micro goals, or a bigger mission. So, the existential spiral scientific explanation. The existential spiral concept in astro-psychological context refers to the cognitive and emotional feedback loop where highly introspective types like Aquarians or INTJs repeatedly revisit identity, purpose, meaning, and morality in a non-linear spiraling pattern. Let's break it down scientifically. And I'm going to take another drink because I don't want to lose my voice. I do apologize. Okay, so number one, neurocognitive basis. The default mode network, or DMN. The DMN, default mode network, is a large-scale brain network most active during rest and introspective thought, which is mind wandering, future planning, and self-reflection. So Aquarians are introverted. They're very abstract and reflective. And future planning, the air signs in astrology are very future oriented, and so they have a very hard time dealing with being in the now. And that's a huge reason why Aquarians are constantly feeling like we're having an outer body experience. And that does also have a lot to do with extroverted sensing in the inferior position, as well as Pluto transformation in the inferior slot or the fall. So, research shows the default mode network is hyperactive in personality types prone to existential rumination, especially intuitive introverts like INTJs or Aquarians. So, functions of DMN: self-referential processing, episodic memory, reflecting on past experiences, theory of mind, imagining others' perspectives. Theory of mind is such a huge thing for INFJs, Pisces, and Aquarians INFJs. And that is definitely to do with intuition, I think. We definitely imagine other people's perspectives. Aquarians are extremely intellectual. So for Aquarians, it's more about how, like, motives. Why are people thinking the way that they are? I love studying crime and psychology, and I'm like always trying to see other people's perspectives and understand other cultures. That's a very big thing for Aquarians as well. So, simulating hypothetical futures, what if scenarios, Aquarians are constantly thinking about the what if, and that does create a lot of, sorry, I've got moths flying around. I should probably shut my big bay window. They're attracted to the lights. Yeah, I'm in a huge shed out here. I've got farm equipment in front of me, but I've got the big bay door open, and there's like moths everywhere. But yeah, anyways, that's what's going on. My bad. All right, so yeah, Aquarians are stuck in the what if. What if this? What if that? What if, what if, what if? So it creates a lot of mental anxiety. Studies show that activation of the DMN correlates with depressive or existential thinking, especially in those who score high on openness and intellect. Personality dimensions common in INTJs and Aquarians. I actually scored 99 on openness. I'm actually very conservative by nature. By nurture. My family's very conservative. But intellectually, I'm extremely open-minded. I love to study all points of an argument because guess what? That makes you better at understanding others' perspectives as well as how to make your point better. So, number 2, spiral versus linear development, developmental psychology. Unlike linear models of growth, the spiral model of psychological development, such as in spiral dynamics or dialectic thinking, acknowledges that humans revisit the same core issues at deeper and more integrated levels over time. So, for example, at 20, you ask, "Who am I?" And again at 30, but with more layers of insight. The spiral reflects Piaget's equilibration. Equilibration? It's a hard word to say. Equilibration. We adjust our schemas in a circular feedback loop. Erickson's psychological stages, revisited with new life experience, and Jungian individuation, where unconscious material is integrated over time. Number 3, INTJ cognitive functioning looping. INTJs, especially unhealthy or understimulated ones, can loop between introverted intuition and introverted feeling without extroverted input, like extroverted thinking or extroverted sensing. So we have hero-child loops between NI and FI for Aquarians or INTJs. NI represents internal vision and forecasting patterns. FI, or introverted feeling, represents inner values, authenticity, and subjective judgment. When these two cycle, the INTJ may become trapped in an inner spiral of, why am I here? Am I living authentically? Does any of this matter? And then repeating all of that over and over. So it's an internal introverted, pretty much an existential crisis. You're just introverting and looping in between these. This looping mirrors the existential spiral, deep, recursive self-examination that can become paralyzing without grounding external stimulus. So like action, structure, and feedback from other people. Aquarians tend to isolate themselves quite a bit. Number 4, astrological parallels. So we're talking about Uranus, Saturn, in the 11th house. Uranus is the co-ruler of Aquarius. It symbolizes disruption, future orientation, rebelling from conventional meaning. And Saturn represents structure, time, existential boundaries, so mortality and responsibility. The tension between these creates internal conflict. I want to break free from society's limits, Uranus, but I still crave purpose and structure with Saturn. This dynamic reinforces the existential spiral, always oscillating between nihilism and idealism, rebellion and structure. And number 5, we have the existential spiral as a growth mechanism. I can't breathe that on my nose. From a psychological growth perspective, spiraling isn't necessarily pathological. It can be transformative. Through repeated existential questioning, Aquarians or INTJs refine their purpose with more complexity. It's a key part of existential maturity, spiritual integration, and value realignment. The spiral is not a trap, but a helix, revisiting old questions with higher awareness. What's happening in the existential spiral recap? Neurobiological loop, overactivation of the default mode network or DMN, excessive self-focus, rumination, time projection, and existential dread. That existential dread, like I constantly feel like, God, there's just not enough time in this lifetime to get much done. Like project wise, learning wise. It's amazing. I have huge visions and I constantly feel like there's not enough time on this planet. But I think it's a good thing as well if you don't get caught in like depression and introversion. I think it's amazing because that is a huge part of what pushes me to continue on with, writing these ebooks and doing these videos and trying to help other people. It's a huge, huge thing that pushes me forward because it's like I have to get so much done when I can because life is so short. So it's not just a negative thing. Cognitive function loop. INTJ gets stuck in an IFI loop, the hero-child loop. Internal pattern forecasting plus value introspection. Cut off from TE, execution, and SE, present sensory data. Emotional result, disconnection, apathy, paralysis, or hopelessness. To exit the spiral, you need to re-engage the brain's task positive network, or TPN, and activate executive function and sensory integration systems. Excuse me, I need a drink. I might say that again. Okay, so to exit the spiral, you need to re-engage the brain's task positive network and activate executive function. So getting things done, task, having goals, micro purpose, and sensory integration systems. So that deals a lot with moving your body, getting healthier, focusing on diet, stretching, yoga, getting your body moving again. So sensory integration systems, getting out of your head and grounding back into your body. So going for a walk or whatever the case might be, getting out in nature is a huge thing. So scientific strategies to exit the spiral. Number 1, activate the task positive network with goal-oriented action. What this does, it suppresses the DMN, increasing focus, dopamine regulation, and real-world relevance. So strategy, externalize your thoughts through structured problem-solving or decision-making. Use a task list, planner, or action board. Break down any abstract existential question into a doable micro action. What's the meaning of life? What lights me up right now? Try one new thing this week. Why it works. TPN and DMN are anti-correlated, meaning when you're doing, you're not spiraling. Number 2, use sensory grounding to activate extroverted sensing and calm the limbic system. What this does, interrupts disassociation and DMN overactivity through the somatosensory cortex and brainstem regulation. So that pretty much means that getting your introverted behind into an extroverted mode. Strategy, engage your body in real time. Cold water exposure, exercise, mindful eating, dance, nature walks, name 5 things you see, hear, or smell, shifts awareness to the present moment rather than being stuck in your head like we always are. Although it is a fun place to be, let me tell you. Why it works. Bottom-up sensory input bypasses abstract thinking and stimulates serotonin and vagus nerve pathways. Number 3, re-engage extroverted thinking, or TE, for feedback loop break. What this does, INTJs or Aquarians restore cognitive balance by implementing logic externally, not just internally. Strategy, externalize mental clutter. Journal using prompts like, what evidence supports this fear or belief? If someone else said this, how would I respond logically? Start a structured project, even a small one like reorganizing your desk or outlining a plan. Why it works. Engaging TE gets you out of subjective FI and I loops and into cause-effective thinking. It also stimulates the prefrontal cortex, improving emotional regulation. Number 4, regulate emotional via polyvagal and hormonal pathways. What this does, it reduces sympathetic nervous system dominance, so your fight, flight, and freeze, common in existential crisis states. Strategy, use breath work, eye movement, EDMR style, music with predictable tempo, or laughter to regulate your vagus nerve. When I feel like I'm absolutely at my limits, I tend to I tend to like listen to a bunch of comedy. It gets me laughing. It gets me out of my like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, why am I doing this? So comedy is a huge freaking relief, especially like intellectual comedy. Try to listen to some comedy. It's amazing. All right. So try box breathing. Do something that feels safe, novel, and mildly stimulating. Why it works. When your ventral vagal system is online, it restores a sense of safety, trust, and connection, calming existential threat detection. Anchor with social regulation, co-regulation. What this does, calms hyperactive DMN by accessing mirror neurons and oxytocin-based trust circuits. Strategy, huge one. Don't isolate. Share your spiral with someone who won't try to fix it, just witness it. Light banter. I'm sorry, but I do love intellectual banter. Probably, I don't know, more than a lot of things in life. Light bantering, keep it comical though. Voice notes or time in a shared space with no pressure to talk. Talk to a therapist, coach, or even post anonymously in a like-minded forum. I don't suggest that because that's not really authentic, but if you need to, I guess go ahead. Why it works. Social mammals regulate emotion via presence. INTJs or Aquarians forget they're human too. Number 6, balance existential thinking with meaningful engagement. What this does, puts abstract meaning into embodied practice. Strategy, create, contribute, and connect. Make art, write, volunteer, design, teach, anything that leaves a trace. Try Viktor Frankl's logotherapy principle. Don't ask, what is the meaning of life? Ask, what is life asking from me right now? Why it works. Purpose is found in contribution, not contemplation. I'm sitting Indian style. Oh gosh. Okay, so this satisfies both an I and TE while grounding FI in real world value. So, in summary, scientific exit plan: how to use the spiral as a growth tool. Instead of fearing the void, meet it with curiosity. The key: don't look for one ultimate purpose. Build small, meaningful micro purposes you can actually act on this week. So I do have some examples here. And then this is actually page 60 in my ebook. And after that, I go through all of this explanation. And then I have journal prompts. And so you can actually focus on yourself rather than just the information. And I think I'll end the video here with some problems and exit strategy examples. So, overthinking, brain system involved, default mode network, exit strategy, engage task positive network, goal task oriented things, disassociation, the brain system involved, is that an A or an O? I can't see that far. I think I can make it. Yeah, I can make it bigger. So disassociation, somatosensory is a hard one. Sensory cortex, exit strategy, sensory grounding, movement and touch, subjective loops, brain system involved, the NI hero and FI child loop. Exit strategy: use extroverted thinking for external action and logic. So, getting things done rather than being stuck in your head. Anxiety or dread. Brain system involved, sympathetic nervous system. Exit strategy: vagus nerve stimulation. So, breathing and rhythm. Isolation: the brain system involved is mirror neuron system. Exit strategy: co-regulation with safe people. And meaning crisis: brain system, prefrontal cortex, and dopamine. Exit strategy: purpose through action and contribution, like volunteering, teaching, etc., etc. And so the next page in here, worksheet micro purpose builder. List 3 micro purposes for this week. These are tiny but meaningful goals or actions. Anything that sparks interest, creates progress, or connects you to something you value. So there are many different journal prompts in this ebook. I am definitely going to get this on Amazon. I want this in my hands. Like, I don't want to just use my printer and print it off. I think I'm going to go for a hard copy. Is probably my favorite book I've created so far. So I will leave with tips for the existential spiral and an affirmation quote. So, tips: curiosity kills the void. Learn something new, however small. Micro purpose builds momentum. Don't wait for a big calling to land. Celebrate tiny wins, such a huge thing. When you check off a micro purpose, notice how it feels. Notice how it feels. So the affirmation: meaning isn't found, it's made. One small purpose at a time. Don't ever forget that. Meaning isn't just found, it's made by you. One small purpose at a time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I think I'm going to do the rest of my videos like this. I think I like this a little bit better, although it's a longer video. I don't know. Let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. Like and subscribe. And thank you so much for your time. Feel free to write your own life examples and advice. This isn't an easy personality to deal with, but we're out here, we're doing it. I'm here, you're here. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video.